Hello, here with Practical Hapkido. Today I'm going to come to you with Practical Hapkido's stances. We've only got basically two of them. One is called a ready stance and the other one is a combative stance or a fighting stance, which is actually also called a shooter stance in Torite Jutsu, which is one of the locations that I got this stance from. Our ready stance, which is important, is hands-on, pre-combat, pre-fighting. And that's a ready stance. The ready stance is hands up automatically in a non-fighting type stance. You're not trying to look like this or it's non-confrontational. It's, hey, get your feet kind of apart a little bit, get your hands up into the zone, start the talking zone. Here's where everything's going to happen, okay? Your hands have to be up. So this is our basic ready stance. A combative stance or a fighting stance will automatically go into feet forward, both feet pointed at the target, nose over toes, so that means my weight is going to be forward, feet shoulder width apart, weight forward, which means now my back foot you'll see the heels off the ground. This is actually called engaging kidney lumbar. That's going to go into other realms of weirdness. So anyway, hands up automatically, my hands are in what's called the power zone. The power zone, and when your hands are close to you, this rectangle area right here in front of you is your power zone. Here's where you're strongest. The farther you get away from that boxing, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's striking or joint locking or whatever you're doing, you become weaker. So if I'm doing a cross wrist or something like that, I'm immediately going to a shooter stance the minute I start to roll and bring a technique into play, right? Now right now, you can see what I do is I turn my core. This is what I'm attacking, so guess where my feet are pointing? That's in this general direction here, and again, my weight is forward, okay? So even if it's a punch, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that weight and turn my feet to the core. The core is whatever it is I'm striking. This is probably one of the most difficult things for people to get in Practical Hapkido, is getting, because human nature dictates they want to trail this back foot, they want it to be turned out. The reality of it is, if I'm in a stance like this, and this foot is turned out, this foot is not in the fight. I cannot engage you with this foot until I bring the hip back into play. Now I can deliver a scoop kick, slap kick, front kick, roundhouse, whatever the kick is. But when it's back like this is out of the fight. We have a thought process here that goes along with the Practical Hapkido combative stance, which is keep all your weapons in the fight. So if I step in and I'm doing something here and this foot is turned out like this, I don't have this weapon in the fight. I've got 1, 2, maybe 3, and 4 in the fight, but I'm missing my 5th weapon. Why do you want to give up a weapon in the confrontation? Oh, there it is. It's back in. Now I have all weapons back in the game again. So, nose over toes, the combative stance, feet shoulder width apart, toes kicked in. Very much like a karate stance, there's a lot of similarities throughout these arts. Nose over toes, hands in the power zone, keep all weapons into play. Another phrase that I have that goes right along with this stance is, when you move, take your furniture with you. All too many times I see people do a joint lock where they'll bring this in and they'll try and do this and leave this foot way back here. I'm all spread out. I can't use this foot or do anything until I shift my weight again. Make sense? If I keep these shoulder width apart and everything's pointing forward, I can utilize any of the weapons at any time in this confrontation. If I step and don't take my furniture with me, again, look at how spread out I am. I can't really do anything. So when I move, I'm going to take my furniture with me. If I move forward, I'm going to take my furniture with me. If I move to the side, I'm taking my furniture with me. And always trying to maintain this shoulder width, nose over toes, weight forward, and hands in the power zone at all times. And again, like I keep saying over and over, don't take my word for it. Apply this yourself to some of your joint locks. You probably have a lock that's similar to this here, where you're stepping back, and I see a lot of people turn this back foot and pull this way, just like this. If you have that and that's what you do, try this instead. Just try it. Of course, I'm leaving out a lot of fundamentals in this, okay, but when I step back here, I'm keeping my hands in the power zone. If I leave this out here, now I'm going to try and pull him back. No, we're not going to try and do that. Here, watch this, wait. He's latched onto my core. My 175 pounds is dragging him, not the strength of my arm. Same if I'm going forward. If I have an arm bar, I'm not going to just utilize an arm and try and push him forward here. I'm going to base this and I'm going to utilize core. And where are my feet? They're still forward to whatever it is that I'm attacking. In that case, it was his elbow. So that's the direction my feet are pointing. Feet to the core. So, ready stance, hands are up, non-confrontational. This also works very good for you because look, anywhere you go, you're on camera these days. Probably a pretty good idea to look like the person that's on the defensive. Hey man, I don't want any trouble, right? Right? Hands up, good. The minute something kicks off, drop, get them hands in there, feet to the power zone, forward weight distribution, and you put that on everything you're doing. Whether it's joint locking, striking, offensive, defensive. Well, defensive is offensive. Your mentality should be that you're running them over. Because oftentimes I say too, how long is it going to take you to win that fight blocking? Right? You're never going to win. You can't win a fight blocking. You have to go on an offensive sooner or later. Why not be on offensive all the time the minute you start to move? So, I think I've covered everything in the practical Hapkido stance and mentality. Please apply it, try it yourself. Let me know what you find out, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you think about it. If you'd like me to cover or look at a particular technique, let me know about that in the comments. I'd love to address a particular technique and see how we may do it differently than the way other people do it. I might learn something from you. Thank you very much. Keep training. Have a good night.